Hello everyone, DJ Mikey here, and in this video I'm going to do a gameplay walkthrough of a quest for my game, Tales from the Dancing Moon. Now, you may be asking yourself, what exactly is Tales from the Dancing Moon? So before I jump in, I'll briefly explain what exactly the game is, avoiding any spoilers, and then after I'll set up the quest that we'll be going through in this video. I'll try and be as quick as possible, because ultimately I want to jump into the actual gameplay as soon as possible. Tales from the Dancing Moon is a game I've been developing mostly on my own since the start of the pandemic. It's an RPG that combines the casual gameplay of games like Stardew Valley, the aesthetic from games like Baldur's Gate or Pillars of Eternity, driven by discovery-based questing and story that is kind of inspired by games like Outer Wilds. You wake up near the seaside village of Illusaur, lost and confused, not knowing exactly who you are, and you spend your time at a place called the Dancing Moon, the inn that resides inside this little village. After meeting the villagers who live there, you soon learn that the village itself is recovering from a recent invasion of creatures known as the Shadow Beasts. You spend your time learning about these people who live in the town and the invasion that happened. And on top of all that, you start to learn why exactly you've mysteriously found yourself in these circumstances. The quest I'll be doing in this video is named Setting the Stage. The innkeeper has had bad luck drawing more visitors to the town and at the Dancing Moon, so it has enlisted your help in finding a local bard to start playing there. After successfully finding one, the bard herself has a request: to build a stage inside the Dancing Moon itself to liven up the place. So let's jump in and see how this all plays out. Alrighty, so we are in the game right now. It's a lovely summer's morning in Illusaur. It's quite quiet at the moment. There's not really many NPCs around, but we'll head into the inn and we'll see what's going on. So we have Fergus, the innkeeper. He's keeping tabs of the inn at the counter. We have the chef over there. They're doing their rounds as usual. They kind of follow a routine, just like any other NPC. And what we'll be doing is talking to the NPC who is the bard, who we've kind of recruited into this place. And she's actually just come down the stairs right now, conveniently timed for this quest to start. So I'll just talk to her, and we'll have an interaction with her. So when I talk to her, I do get this dialogue option that comes up. Anything that's quest related will be orange. And obviously as well, any NPC that has a quest available will have like a gold sort of emblem above their head just to indicate that. So let's have a little conversation with her. So, you look concerned. This person's called Elena, by the way. Is it that obvious? Look, I've enjoyed being here and playing my music for the inn. It's just, it feels like there could be more, you know? What do you have in mind to make your stay worthwhile? We need a stage. There's nowhere to actually perform around here, and I can't exactly stand awkwardly between the patrons of this place with my giant lute in the way, can I? Do you think you can chat to Fergus about this? I feel like it might spruce up the place if we had a stage. What do you think? It's a great idea. Do you have any requirements? Let me think. It would have to fit in with the existing decor and style. Perhaps a wooden platform with luxurious, colourful drapes, which we can use when the stage is not in use. Oh, and there must be an area to keep the instruments too. I'm doing my back in carrying my lute up and down those stairs. Sounds good. I'll talk to Fergus about this. So bearing in mind, so when I click on this dialogue here, it will actually start the quest for setting the stage. And as I iterate on the quest, there will probably be more dialogue options to choose from, just if you want to kind of respond in your own kind of way. Similar to sort of like, you know, if you want to respond in a helpful way, or if you're kind of hesitant or want to lean into a more sort of darker sort of thought process. But we'll just go ahead with these dialogue options just to get the flow of this quest going. So sounds good. I'll start chatting to Fergus. So when you start a quest, the new quest dialogue will pop up that will just summarize what you just spoke about. So setting the stage, Elena is not happy with the current state of the Dancing Moon. She thinks a stage area would help her feel more comfortable playing her music. You are reminded of something you found for Oswin at the museum which might help. but you think talking to Lucas would be a good start. So there's kind of some implication there of what we could be doing, and we'll go on to this first action here, which is a talk to Fergus. Elena wants you to ask Fergus if it's okay to construct a stage inside the Dancing Moon, so let's go accept that quest. We then get the UI updates with the quest sort of information up here. So this is just to remind you what to do. You get the action description here, and then you get your specific task here. So this is talk to Fergus to progress. This is Fergus. So clicking on him, we got the dialogue for here, and again we got the gold options here. So hey there, how are you? Elena wants to build a stage for the Dancing Moon. A stage, eh? Why didn't I think of that? That will surely liven up the place. And who are we to get in the way of artistic inspiration? Fubi. So I called the sort of beta test player Fubi for some reason, so that's what the player name is. Anything to keep the new bard in town. I'm sure Nicholas will grumble about it, though. Let's keep it a secret until he finds out, shall we? Nicholas being the chef over here. Glad to have you on board. What's our next steps? Let's talk to Lucas. I'm sure he'll be itching to work on a new project for the town. He should have a good idea on what's required. Will do. So then we get the quest progression pop up, and this just tells us about the new action that we have to take. So let's talk to Lucas. Lucas is sort of the village handyman in Illusaur, and he kind of resides in the town hall, which is opposite the inn. So what I can do is show you just some of the UI work that we have in place. So this is the map of Illusaur. I'll just show this region here, because if I go outside this area, it might spoil some of the sort of other regions that we can visit. We get a live little tracker of the NPCs that we've interacted with. So this was Elena, who we just spoke to. If I click on her, she'll pop up here. She's kind of on a little route just to kind of have a walk through the town, basically. So she's kind of over this bridge at the moment. And we want to talk to this guy here, Lucas, who is in the town hall on the left here. So let's just pop into the town hall now. So Quinn, that's the shopkeeper over here. We don't want to talk to her right now, so let's just go to the right over here, and let's talk to Lucas. So Lucas did just glitch out for a little minute there, but he's kind of on track. So he's going to his station, which is here. He's just woken up for the day because it's 20 past 10 in the morning, so let's just speak to him now. So we do have some quest options for Lucas. We have two options here actually, but the first one is actually another quest which we won't be pursuing, but to make it kind of obvious what quest we will be interacting with, we got the sort of brackets here to kind of indicate what we're doing. So set the stage. So the bard would like a stage area at the Dancing Moon. We were wondering if you'd be up to the task. I thought I saw a new face at the inn the other day. It's great that we're attracting more people back to the village. Fergus must be desperate to keep her if he's willing to change things up a bit. If you ask me, it was about time he did some renovations anyway. So how can I help to get things started? You should know the drill by now, Phoebe. I need resources. So he kind of said this because we've done some tasks for him already previously in the story. So Lucas takes some time writing out a list on a bit of parchment, and he has stuffed in one of his pockets. You can't help but notice his tongue poked out on the side as he thinks about what he needs. He occasionally taps the end of the pencil on his temple. So this is just some meta dialogue, just to kind of describe what might be happening with that particular character. This should do it. There may be a few things on there that you need to buy a blueprint for. Talk to me again if that's the case. So you can press thanks. So this is just talking about the blueprint system. So some craftable items are very specific and you need a blueprint to craft those items. Lucas is the guy to talk to if you need to buy those blueprints. Thanks. So gather resources for Lucas. Lucas has prepared a list of resources for the stage. Some items may need to be learned from Lucas in order to craft them. So that's just to recap. Okay. And we basically have the task list up here. So we need some wooden planks, copper nails, a rope, circular table, simple chair. These sorts of things we can build with the crafting system. So if I press C, this brings up the player menu. We got the tabs up here. So before we were looking at the map, we can go to crafting, and we basically have the options here. We do have some more crafting options if we just step outside. and we go to the workbench, which is here. And if you kind of see all these highlight items, these are actually items that I've placed in the world. So these are workbenches that I can craft, and I can actually plop them down like in the world. So if I just select the workbench, then we have all these other craftable items to choose from. Now, if you actually look through, you have the requirements that appear on the right, and we actually need those requirements in order to actually build these things. So let's focus on one of those things. So let's focus on the circular table, shall we? So let's select the workbench. I don't think the table is on this one actually, it's on the furniture workbench, which is this one. So let's go over here. So a circular table, this one here. So what we need is a wooden plank, a rope, and some cloth. So let's work on doing the wooden plank, shall we? Now, for the purposes of this demo, I will kind of fast track some of this resource building because like it's basically the same sort of gameplay for each of these things. It's gathering resources and crafting things. So let's just go ahead and see how we can build a wooden plank. And obviously for a wooden plank, if I go to the crafting menu, we need some wood. It needs 4 wood per wooden plank. And basically we can use our axe that we have equipped here to start chopping down some wood. So if I just use the right click button, you can start swinging that axe around. But where do we find wood? And that's outside the town. So let's walk over this way. And we basically want to talk to Miral, who is this NPC. He kind of acts as the guard for the gate that leads outside to the east to other areas. So let's talk to Miral, and let's say I'd like to step outside. And we basically have a few options here. Some of these options are unavailable just because we're not at that part of the quest in the story. But the first place is good enough, the Dewyland Meadows. This is basically just outside the town. And this is essentially a forest biome that we can go to. Everything outside the town, like these locations, are procedurally generated. You know, it's useful for kind of resource building, resource gathering, fighting enemies, and every time you step outside, you'll kind of encounter something new, or you know, everything will be a different layout. So let's just go to the Dewyland Meadows. So I've just clicked on there, and now we're loading up this region. There's a few debug things that have just popped up here, so let's just wait for them to disappear. Seeing the works behind the scenes. So this is the Dewyland Meadows. We kind of were situated on this road here. If I interact with this signpost, that will basically allow me to return back to Illusaur, but we don't want to do that. And basically we just want to start chopping down some wood. So you can see there's a whole bunch of trees around here. There's an old cart here that's sort of we can sort of access and randomly gather things. We've got some copper mines here that we can use the pickaxe on. There's some things that we can interact with, some mushrooms to pick up. So yeah, if I just kind of walk around, you get a sense of how this is kind of procedurally generated, and we can walk around and start gathering things. But at this point, we just want to chop down some wood. So let's just go ahead and start chopping. So that tree just came down, and we're going to start going through and collecting all that wood. And we'll just do this a few times. 1 tree down, 2 tree down. Let's keep going. So it takes about 3 chops just to kind of get that tree down. We can actually chop the stump as well, so it does leave the stump here. So if I start chopping the stump here, then we get some more wood coming there. Let's do this a couple more times. We get this kind of effect coming through as well when you walk behind trees, just so that you don't lose sight of where the player is. So let's keep chopping. I think this might be enough for now, just to kind of get the general sense. So I just go to the inventory. Actually, we have the inventory down here in the hotbar. So we have 60 wood and 50 fibre. So 50, the fibre comes from the leaves and the wood comes from the trunk. I can press I and I can get some more information there. So you get descriptions of each item as you hover over things. So let's just remind ourselves that we need some wooden planks. So got 60 wood, it needs 4. How many wooden planks do we need? We want 50 wooden planks. That's actually quite a lot. So Now, what I do is I can select the wooden plank and I can just select how much I want. Bearing in mind, I am in a sort of creative god mode here just to kind of get the quest going, so I can actually just start building these things here. So let's bring that all the way up to 50. And let's confirm that. So what I've done is built those wooden planks. Now, as I said, I'm in sort of god mode, so it didn't actually remove those pieces, but you get the idea. So that's how we craft things in the game. And as you can see on the right here, the wooden planks have just gone up to 50. And I'm basically going to do the same thing for the copper nails. So for copper nails, I basically need copper. And so we can find those on these kind of rock formations here. And so if I just start attacking these rocks with the pickaxe, you'll see some rocks coming off, and then you also get the copper ore here. Let's do the same for these guys here as well. Moving around, and then there's this bit here. Okay, so I've got a few things here. I've got stone, I've got copper, I've got wood, I've got fibre, and for the sort of base, sort of initial stages of the game, these are sort of the core resources that we kind of interact with. As we move on with the game, you'll end up interacting with things like silver and gold and, you know, higher tiers of resources, hardwood and things like that. So at this point, we're kind of good to see that this is the sort of stuff that we're interacting with. And these will actually kind of go towards these things up here. With that, I'm kind of happy to go back to town. So let's just interact with the signpost and let's go back. So let's go over here and just checking the time. It's 5:10 in the evening. So we will notice the day getting a bit darker. I think when it gets a bit too dark, I'll go to sleep and it will make the time progress even further. This is just another thing that I've placed in the town here over here. Okay, so let's go through and actually craft all of these different things. So we need a copper nail. This requires a furnace, I think, which is this area here. This is kind of in progress. I'm going to sort of revamp what this looks like because this doesn't quite look like a furnace. And we basically need copper ore. And actually I need coal as well for that. So anything that kind of requires the furnace, we need coal to kind of like sort of operate it really. So in order to get something like a silver ingot or a copper ingot, we need the copper ore, but we also need some coal as well. In this case we need some nails, so let's just exit that just to see how many we need. We need 30. Let's go back here, so let's build 30 copper nails. Let's just bring that along. 30 nails. We need some rope. I think I need the basic, actually I think I can craft that on my person, so we've got some rope. So you might have noticed as I was playing, there's kind of different layers to crafting. So if you bring up the crafting menu on your player, then you do get some basic things that you can craft. So the first thing, well, one of the more important things is the workbench, which basically allows you to expand your crafting abilities. But you do get some basic things like wooden sticks and ropes here. So how many ropes did I need? I need 20 ropes, so let's do the same here. 20 rope, that's been built. One circular table and one simple chair. So that's that is on the furniture workbench. One circular table and one, I think it was a simple chair, wasn't it? Okay, so we've built everything, and surprisingly, our player is able to hold a chair and a table, 20 pieces of rope, 30 nails, and 50 wooden planks. Quite a strong back he's got there. So actually Lucas is actually gone from the town hall into the Dancing Moon. That's just because it is evening, so he's not really working anymore, but for the purposes of this quest we can still talk to him and see what he says. So let's interact with Lucas. Again, we've got the quest options here, so set the stage, and I have found everything you've asked for. Excellent, I'll take these off your hands. I'll be at the Dancing Moon for a few days whilst I work. Feel free to check in, but try not to disturb me. And I'll be away from the town hall in the meantime, so anything else on your mind might have to wait. Understood. So I guess the key thing here is that some of these things, some of the quests actually do require NPCs to sort of be inactive or work for a little time as the people sort of operate on the towns and the sort of quests that you're asking them to do. So understood. So talk to Elena about the good news about the new stage area. So let's press OK. So Lucas is busy working on the new stage area at the Dancing Moon. It may take a few days to complete. The quest will update when Lucas is done. So this is just indicating that we have lost all the items that we did just craft. That's because Lucas has taken them and he's working on them. But we haven't received anything in this quest, so let's press OK. Now, and that's essentially what's happened. Now, I think for the purposes of this quest, there wasn't any wait time. I just wanted to kind of show you that now that there is a stage in this quest being built. But when you actually do play the quest, there will be that wait time, and you'll see Lucas kind of like working away. I think the reason actually why it's kind of skipped over this point is that I did actually do this before, and I kind of reset the quest, and obviously the timer didn't reset as part of that. But generally, that's kind of what you do for that quest. We can talk to Elena now just to kind of give her the progress and to see if she likes it. She's actually playing at the moment, so we can't actually talk to her. So we can just wait until she's done. So let's wait for an hour and see if she finishes up. No, she's still playing, so let's wait another hour. Still playing. She's a late player. Let's go until midnight. Okay, she's gone. And I think she has gone upstairs actually, because she will be preparing to go to bed. Yeah, so she's just sitting at the table here. So whilst she's staying in Illusaur, she will be staying at the Dancing Moon, so she sleeps in this bed here. So, quest option, looks like the stage is complete. Oh my gosh, Phoebe, it's amazing. Lucas really did a great job. I spoke to him a few times during the work, and he has said a lot of good things about you. So as I said before, we do sometimes get multiple choice options, so I only helped with getting a few resources, but Lucas did do most of the work. Yeah, Lucas wouldn't be able to do a lot of things here if it weren't for my adventures out of town to get his precious resources. So you can kind of see that, you know, there's sort of a difference between like being helpful and nice and also kind of being a bit like sarcastic. So let's kind of choose this option. Oh, I'm so sorry it was an inconvenience. It really was worth it though. It looks just like the one I used to play at. Elena takes her lute and plucks a few chords. You sense an aura emanate from around Elena and the lute. You tilt your head slightly to observe, getting the sense that she might have one of those special abilities that Fergus and Sky had mentioned about. That's kind of intriguing. So what do you think, Phoebe? You know, I found something in the Dewyland Meadows the other day that might make it even better. Really? I love that you're so willing to make it even better. Wait, oh, don't tell me. Let it be a surprise. Okay. Alrighty, so gather the music amplifiers. You are reminded of the amplifier that you donated to the museum. Perhaps you can find more in the Dewyland Meadows. You think Elena might be able to use them, and it will surely make the stage even better. So the music amplifiers is actually something that occurred in a previous quest. You basically found these strange objects in the Dewyland Meadows, which kind of strangely look familiar to anyone who's familiar with modern appliances. It is the evening though. I just remembered that I waited until it was about midnight, so let's just go to bed because it is a bit too dark outside. And we'll also get a health bonus from sleeping as well. So if I go to sleep, I'll get 2 hearts, and this is just telling me that this is the current time, this is the new time that I'll wake up, so it's an 8-hour sleep. And I'll just press yes. Alrighty, so let's go downstairs. I believe the weather has taken a turn for the worse. I can hear some lightning outside. Let's step outside. Oh, maybe not. Kind of bright outside. Maybe that was from the through the night, but it's actually daytime now, so maybe the lightning has stopped. Oh no, it's there. It's just not raining. Okay. Alright, so we are going to the Dueland Meadows, and we're going to find more of these amplifiers. So let's just have a little wander around, and if we see anything sticking out of the grass, then we know that we might have found an amplifier. If we step too far out of the meadows, then we do get the sort of out of bounds indicator there. So let's just look around. We're not going to bother with fighting at the moment, so we'll avoid these blobs that will attack us. Haven't seen anything just yet. What could be useful is if I just press Alt, then it will highlight all of the interactable things in the world. So let's just have a little wander around, shall we? Okay, I can see a couple of things, but that's not what we're looking for. So we've got some rocks here. Ah, here we go, this is what we need. Okay, got one amplifier. What I might need to do is actually go outside of the procedural area and then come back in just so it generates some more. Because it might not be that 4 will be actually in this area. Oh, there's another one there, so there's 2. Just to kind of talk a little bit about the procedural area, so you can see that there's like camps around and various other sort of interactable things. They will be relevant for other quests, but partly it is sort of decoration as well, just to make the procedural areas a bit more interesting. So what I'll do, there was 2 in this area, but what I'll do is I'll step out and come back in just to regenerate the zone. So let's go back out to the meadows. Let's do the trick again, so let's activate the highlights. There's one by this rock formation. Okay, there's 3, so I need just 1 more. Let's just have a little look around. Obviously I'm on a very kind of targeted focus for this quest, but if I was here a bit more casually, I'd probably be chopping down some more of these trees, or using the pickaxe on the rocks, or exploring those camps that we saw earlier, because sometimes you will see some of these boxes will have loot inside them, which can give you some more interesting things to interact with or read, like notebooks, that sort of thing. Gives you some more lore about this place. Trying to find another one of these boxes. If this is taking too long, then I'll probably speed up the video in these parts. Oh, there we go, there's one just under this tree, which I cannot actually, I might need to chop down this tree to actually get to it, so let's get rid of that. Okay, there we go. So we have the 4 amplifiers, and we want to basically find that signpost again in order to get out, and here it is. So let's go back to Elisor and let's talk to Elena. Actually, so let's double check where she actually is. So she's not in the Dancing Moon at the moment, she's actually in the town hall. That's because it's about midday. Some of these NPCs like to wander around. I think she might be over here. Yep, there she is. So, okay, I have some things that will make your music sound better. Can you play against these? Sure, Phoebe. So, you lay the 4 amplifiers around Elena. She takes her lute and plucks the flute cords. It makes no difference at first, but then you notice her focusing on one of the amplifiers directly in front of her. You feel the vibration travel from the lute to the device, and after a few moments, the musical tones are amplified around the area. This is amazing. I had a hunch that these would work for you, and that loot. My parents always said I was musically gifted when I was young, perhaps more so than others. Anyway, thank you. This makes my music so much better at the inn. No problem, I can't wait to see the amplifiers in action. And that's the quest completed. So this is just a sort of recap dialogue. So with Lucas's help, he built a new stage area for the Dancing Moon. When Elena was inspired by this, you were reminded of the amplifier that you donated to Oswin at the museum. You had a hunch that Elena had a gift that would let her focus on these devices and use them. Elena can now enjoy playing her lute at the stage area in the Dancing Moon, and we've lost the amplifiers here, but also we've just gained a bit of gold for completing this quest. And if we just step back out here and we go back to the Dancing Moon, then hopefully we'll see these amplifiers on the stage along with everything else. So previously this was sort of clear and Elena was sort of playing her lute in an empty space here. Now we've got some tables and some chairs, and we've also got these big sort of amplifier devices here as well, along with the lute and some stands for them to be on. So yeah, that is just one example of a quest in Tales from the Dancing Moon, and specifically we focused on one of the more sandboxy quests in this game, so just a way of building up the town and expanding it and generating more interest for villagers to come to the town and, you know, making people stay like the bard. And so yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. I didn't really focus on anything story or too story specific in this case, just because I didn't want to spoil too much of that. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a good idea of what you can do. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.